Alrighty, so welcome back to the next installment of the 30-day Trader Induction. This one, we're going to lead off from where we left on the last video, where we dealt with the Japanese candlesticks, and I introduced the one-dimensional perspective of the candlesticks representing four individual price points of the open, the high, the low, and the close. And now in this video, we're going to add a second dimension to these candlesticks, which give it a little bit more context and meaning from a subjective interpretation, which will give us an edge into understanding where the market is likely to head next. And the way this second dimension is laid upon these candlesticks is based on the sequence in which the events, the four events of the open, the high, the low, and the close takes place and where it takes place relative to each other. So in the same way that a candle that opens lower than it closes means that it's a bullish candle, there's some strong momentum to the upside on the day, the flip side is also true of a candle opening higher than it ends up closing, indicates that there's a bearish day, there's bearish momentum, and the market is likely to continue lower from there. What we can do is layer on an additional factor. For example, if the open and the close were quite similar to each other, but the highs and the lows of the candle is quite extreme, that represents indecision in the markets. Now we can also then layer on multiple candles that then build even more of a story onto what might be happening next. So I'm going to run through a few different examples here to illustrate what it is that I'm portraying and show you how we can utilize these candlestick formations in a way that just gives us a little bit more of an edge and a deeper understanding in these candlesticks, because there's a lot of information. So for example, let's quickly look at a bearish engulfing, one of the most important and fundamental formations out there. And a bullish engulfing is represented using two candles. And those two candles in this example is this one here and that one there. So the way the bullish engulfing works is that we get the market pushing to the upside with a strong bullish closure, and then the next candle closing straight back down, often at the low, past the low, or near the low of the previous candle. Now, as you can see in this example, we had the bullish engulfing close. The next day was a bearish engulfing, and then the momentum followed through to the downside. Now, not every time that you see that is it going to happen, but a lot of the time, when given the correct context in the markets, as in where price is relative to where it's been, something we'll cover in a later video, we can pair this candlestick formation of a bearish engulfing with a higher time frame level where we're looking for price to maybe decline and pull back off of. We can wait for this confirmation of a bearish engulfing to signal to us, okay, the market on the next day is likely to then follow through. So bullish engulfing is working exactly the same way. Just imagine that this white candle was red. We have a bearish candle and then a bullish candle to the upside on the close. So that's a bearish engulfing there. There's many different types of it. This one over here as well is also a bearish engulfing, but notice that they look very different, as well as the candlestick prior to it was quite different. So we're just looking at these two candlesticks here in conjunction with each other. If I bring this like that, so 1 and 2, and then these two here, both of them are bearish engulfings, signaling that the market has rallied up into a level, printed a bearish engulfing. That bearish candle engulfs the previous candle, and that's what gives it the name, the bearish engulfing. Now, in this one here, this one is a little bit more different, and in my opinion, it would be a stronger bearish engulfing. This is all very subjective. Some people prefer where it engulfs and like kind of matches the previous body, and other people like me prefer it when it closes into a new low, for example. Now, if we zoom right in, what makes this bearish engulfing quite strong is that we've got the bullish closure on the previous day, setting the high, and then this candle, the bearish candle that we're waiting for to close, spikes up through the high of yesterday and then closes very strong past the low of the previous candle as well. So when you get something like that where it fails to breach the highs, i.e. we get a wick up to it and the candle body closes below that high, and additionally closes below the low of the previous day, that just indicates that the market on the Tuesday has tried to rally up. They've had one more push on a Friday morning, and then by the close of Friday have slammed it right back down through Tuesday's low. Sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday closed through Tuesday's low, indicating that Thursday and Friday are likely to then follow through. So that's how we're able to interpret the two different dimensions of the candlesticks. We've got the open, high, the low, and the close, but then the context of what's actually happening relative to each other, as well as just the individual candle, we can build up a bit of an edge and confluence into what's happening. So in addition to that, you can add a third dimension, which is where we're looking for this kind of a candlestick formation to occur at a price point that we've marked out in advance, like a higher time frame level of support or resistance, for example, which can then again further confluence the idea and the bias the market's probably going to continue in the direction that we're now looking to follow through. So this would be a reversal candlestick formation, and this would also be a reversal candlestick formation. Now, moving on from a bearish engulfing and a bullish engulfing, so we've got the two engulfings. Let me just quickly summarize. We've got engulfings, which can be bullish or bearish. We've also got shooting stars plus hammers. This is the next one, and then we'll also go over dojis. Oh. So shooting stars and hammers are involving one candlestick, but indicate the same kind of thing that a bearish engulfing or a bullish engulfing would. A bullish engulfing shows us a price moving up or down into a level, printing the formation, and then reversing in the opposite direction like it's done here. Shooting stars and hammers are doing the exact same thing, but just using one candle. So with this candle here on Aussie dollar, what's happened is that the market has pushed up into a level. The market's pushed up into a level here, and say that this is where we're expecting price to look to reverse. What we can wait for is this candlestick to show us that the market is running out of steam to the upside and then pulling back. Now, a shooting star, the characteristics of a shooting star is where you get this big wick here. You get this big wick being thrown. So you get the market closing on the previous day, on this Wednesday, and then on the Thursday, you get a big wick to the upside, and then you get the closure down here towards the low of the candle. And now they call it a shooting star because of the tail being thrown out behind it, and it's just showing that the market is trying to push to the upside, but the bears have stepped in, ripped it down back off the lows, and it looks like now that the market's going to be trading down all the way through following that. Now you'll notice that these two candles, like these two scenarios, are pretty much the same. You've got the bullish candle followed by the bearish, and you've got the bullish candle followed by the bearish. The only difference is that it didn't close into the lows, didn't close into a new low. It closed like halfway through the body, and that's okay. That's not a problem. When more so looking at where price has been and looking at that wick, we're seeing price thrown to the upside and then being ripped back down. We're looking for that inertia, if you will, throwing it away and then bringing it all the way back. So that's a shooting star here. A hammer is identical, is when we have something like this here, is the same thing. We get those wicks to the downside. We get the wick to the downside and then price pushed all the way back up. Now, you'll notice that in this example here, it's a black candle, so that's bearish, right? So technically it's a bearish candle, but a bullish formation. Now, what that indicates is that if you want to take it a step further, is that the context of the candle has still takes precedence over the actual like open, high, low close. So just because it was a bearish engulfing, a bearish close, the context of the candle, I personally believe, takes more strength and precedence over it, because the market is doing what we think it is doing, what it's doing, and that is that it's tried to go down low, but something's ripped it back off the lows and pushed it to the upside, and it's closed quite close to the open. Although bearish, it's still closed quite close. I would still consider that a shooting star. So there's a whole school of thought out there of taking away the candlestick colors so that you're looking at the price action in isolation so that you don't get confused by the bullish and the bearish, because at the end of the day, you know, regardless of if it closes bearish like this shooting star with this big tail and a bearish close, this still represents the exact same thing. It just happened to close lower than it opened, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. We're looking at the context of the candle, again, this second dimension. Now, here's another example of not a formation, and I think it's important to show what's not a formation but can still be read as a turning point in the market, and just a nice way to prove that just because the market's reversed doesn't mean it necessarily has to do so off the back end of a formation. So we've got the bullish candle here. Maybe we're looking for a bearish engulfing to get short. But what's happened is we only got a small little bearish closure, even though the momentum continued lower. And that's just the world that we're trading in. We're trading in an imperfect market. We're not always going to get these picture perfect bullish engulfings or hammers or shooting stars off the lows and off the highs to take. Sometimes it will just print a candle that doesn't look like anything, doesn't really tell us anything, and then still do what we expect it to do. And that's just it. At this point, that's maybe where you would go to the lower time frames and look for an override, if you will. But if we're just looking at it from a purely candlestick formation, we're not. We're looking at that, we're thinking there's nothing there. You can see that the bullish candle and a small bearish close, it's really not doing a whole lot. Same thing with this bearish engulfing here. We've got the extremes of the previous candle, and then price tried to close into the lows, but it just didn't come close. So this one here is just, again, it's just one of those things where it was almost there, but it wasn't. It still went in the direction that we'd be anticipating, but it just didn't give us the correct candlestick formation for it to be justified. And again, that's just a good example of where it will do what it wants to do, and there's nothing that we can do about that. Now, one of the other things I wanted to note here was that this was just such a perfect little example of where these candlestick wicks, again, like another example of, we're looking at the context of the wicks a little bit more than the actual candlestick formations themselves. We're looking at the wicks and the bodies and the closes and the context of what's happening to show us what it is that we want to see in order to give us an edge into what's happening next. Now, what's happened here is price has declined, and you can see that these candles here in this little region, just there, look how many are grouped, and they're just all squeezing just in here. They're all squeezing there after just a solid run, and the candles are getting smaller, they're getting a bit more choppy, and they're slowing down a little bit, and you're getting a lot of wicks being thrown to the downside. Look at this, we're getting the low, spike into this region. The price is just holding. Here we're looking at the candlestick wicks showing that the bears are trying to push the market down further after already having such a nice run, but these bulls are just stepping in and just throwing them straight back up. And these bodies here, these bodies are just holding price so well at this level, indicating a reversal is looking likely. Now we've got a hammer candle here on steroids, which is again massive spike down and body closure up near the high and up near the open. It's just a nice little shooting star. A hammer candle, not little at all, but big hammer candle, just throwing the momentum back to the upside and then ripping price to the upside. Now the same thing in reverse here. You got the really nice strong move up, and then price just stalled sideways. Look, these opens and closes are so close to each other here that represents a doji candle. So if I quickly draw that out, is we've got a doji candle, which is you got the high, you got the low, and then you've got the open and the close quite close to each other. They look like spinning tops. And when you get a couple of those, you're basically just looking at that as price is just range bound. It's just moving sideways on a lower time frame. It's indecision. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's just moving sideways. It signals indecision. Price often does this at the ends of runs, like here, for example, where it's just like, oh, look at this candle here. It's perfect. Look at this one, where it's just like a little spinning top. It's like it doesn't really give you anything. It's just kind of doing what it wants to do. It's just indecision. It's moving. It's dead ass just moving sideways. So what we can do is when we're looking at that candlestick in conjunction with a level or a region in which we want to move from, we can look at that and say, yeah, price is just stalling, decelerating. It's just not really sure what it's doing. So it's adding an additional confluence on what it is that we're looking to do. So again, spike, 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 bearish engulfing. Again, perfect. Look at that. We've got spike, spike, spike. Buyers are trying to push the market up, but it's failing at this level, mapping it to the bodies, looking at the wicks to see the extremes and what's actually happening of the context. You've got this candle here, Friday 23rd of August, setting the high, capping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of price before you get the final drive through, bearish engulfing, closing through the low of the previous candle, and then the momentum following straight through. Beautiful. Same thing down here again at the bottom of the run. We get the big candle run, we get the doji candle, we get the hammer candle here. Could also call this a bullish engulfing. Again, have a little bit of nuance to this. We're not living in a perfect market. Wick, 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 deceleration, deceleration, bullish engulfing, bullish hammer, just throwing price all the way to the upside. And then the same thing occurs up here. Is again, we just get spike, 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 bearish engulfing. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a candle where the bullish candle and the bearish candle match like this. It can be something like this where it's a bit messy. Maybe you get a doji and then you get the bearish engulfing. It's just the engulfing of the previous candle. It's the momentum that we're looking for. And the spikes, where's the money being thrown to, dropped off, picked up, and then ripped back in the other direction. Where's it trying to go? Where's it failing? And then and then we can use these candlesticks as an indication on when price is ready to go. Look at this tiny shooting star here. This tiny shooting star here. Again, it's bullish, it's a white candle, but look at the context of it. It's tried one more time, spiked up into the highs, but ripped straight back down, and then the momentum followed through. So that's just, again, another example of where, like, don't get so caught up on the one dimension of open, high, low, close. It's bearish candle equals down, bullish candle equals up. We're looking at the context. Where's the money coming in and where's it going out? Where are we trading and what's the momentum looking like? Where are these wicks? Where are the wicks relative to the body closures? Where are the wicks relative to the body closures? We've got the body closures here. This is really where the head is, like the top of the iceberg, and then the top of the wicks are the extremes. Cool. So that's pretty much it for the candlestick formations. I know it was a little bit long-winded, but I like to go in detail with these things. Again, looking at the context. What are the candles saying to us and signaling to us? You'll notice that I picked out like all of the decent opportunities. You're not always going to get that. We're not looking at a perfect environment, but we're not looking to trade every single reversal or every single candle. We're looking to trade them when they're just screaming at us, when we know that the market is telling us, yo, it's time. It's time. I'm trying to tell you, I want to turn around. Are you in or you're out? So that's the candlestick formations. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.